Well, today was scheduled to be a river session, but unfortunately we've had so much rain over the last 2 or 3 days that the rivers are just really out of sorts. So I'm here, I'm back on a commercial, I'm back at FLEETS Dam. I fished a match here a few days ago and I wanted to return here just to try a couple of things out, and that's what today is all about. The match that I fished here a few days ago was actually a silverfish only match, and I didn't bring the pole with me. They have really been dominating with the pole, but I thought I could compete on the feeder. As it turned out, I didn't feed it quite right. I was fishing here about a month ago, and the best way really to target the bigger bream was to feed micro pellets. Unfortunately, what happened the other day was that when I fed micro pellets, it brought in the little stocky carp, and in a competition like that they don't count, and it just really upset the swim. So today I've returned to a peg not far away from where I was in that match, where I'm going to be fishing with a feeder. I'm going to fish a slightly different feeder, but I'm going to fish with smaller baits to start with, just catch what's there, and then try and turn that same swim into a carp swim. Well, the sun's broken through now, which is really nice. The forecast is for the weather to really get better as the day goes on. Hopefully the rain has gone now. So let me show you the setup and what we're going to be doing today. Really comfortable, nice big platforms here. Super comfortable, which is great. Few leaves on the water now, as you'd expect this time of year. Now the setup I'm going to be using today is, I'm going to be using the Horizon Pro commercial. This is the 11-foot feeder, so that's what I'm using today. And I've got that coupled with just a 3000 Horizon 3000 reel. Lovely balance, nice 6-pound main line. That's all it is. No shock leaders, nothing fancy. And the feeder that I'm going to be kicking off with and hopefully fishing with all day is going to be a nice little pellet feeder, free running, which complies with fishery rules. And that feeder is 18 grams, so that's what I'm going to kick off with. Like I say, it's free running, and what I'm going to be fishing with initially, like I say, I'm just going to be fishing for bites really, see what's there. Hopefully there'll be some skimmers there, possibly some bream. I'm going to be fishing, it's just a 4-inch hook length of 0.13, and that is to a size 16. I'll show you that hook pattern because lots of people asked in the last video. It's the MXC one that I'm using today, size 16, so I could put single maggot on, double maggot, and I've got some pinkies as well, but I'll show you that in a moment. And that's it really. So really simple setup. I am going to clip up. I'll clip that up at about, I think I'm going to be clipping up, in fact I'll do that now for you. I'm going to clip up at about 16 meters to start with. From what I'm led to believe, a lot of the fish are really being caught, you know, they've been caught short basically. So I'll just clip this up at, I'll go to 16 meters. We'll kick off there. Got to start somewhere, haven't we? So these are 3 meters apart. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 16 meters is going to be about there, just past that main pole range. Took the line behind the clip. I like to go around again just to make sure, and I always like to count it back just to make sure. 3, 6. It's amazing how many times you can lose count, especially when people are talking to you. If you lad at the next peg or whatever's talking to you, it's easy to lose count, lose track of where you are. So that's it. I'm going to kick off at 16 meters. Like I say, as you can see, it's a lovely open water peg, so I can work my way out. I can even work my way in if I want to do that, obviously, but I'm just going to focus everything at 60 meters. So I'll just hook that on there, and I'll show you the bait tray now. So this is slightly different from what some people do on commercials at this time of year. So there is rain threatened, so I've got the side tray box, so I'm using that today. And in here, there we go. All right, so what have we got? I've got some dead pinkies. These have been frozen, and these can be fantastic for catching bream and skimmers. I could put 2 of those, or even 1 really, because they're a nice size. 2 of those on a 16, which would be great. So, and they're really nice and visible. You know, I love the visual side of these baits in winter, certainly when the water starts getting clearer. I've got some dead reds. These have just been frozen. Still an odd bit of ice in there as well, so they're dead reds. It's a staple on most venues now. I've got some micro pellets there. These have These have been soaked down. These are actually pellets that were left over from a match at Lindholm Lakes. So these are Lindholm Lakes fishery pellets, and I've got a little bit of pellet soak on them now. I've just kind of been using that where I've been going, just sweetening them up a little bit. And then I've got ground bait mixed up, which is going to be the main thing, certainly for the first part of the session, before we start trying to turn the peg into a carp swim. So basically the mix I've got today is the new betaine green. It's the dynamite silverfish one. I couldn't believe how sweet it is. It's really such a sweet mix, but it's slightly lighter than what I would normally use at this time of year. But that's why I'm using it. I'm using it because the best way of getting confidence with mixers and seeing, you know, what you can catch with them is by trying them. So that is that ground bait mixed, being put through a sieve as always. All right, but then the kicking off mix is basically a mix of the pellets and the ground bait, and as you can see the ratio is vastly in favour of the ground bait, with just a few micros in there. So that's what we're going to start off with, that. So there's just going to be the odd pellet going in, and then as the session progresses, hopefully there might be some stockies there, some carp later on. I'm going to be putting more pellets through the feeder to try and catch them, and then I'll probably change the hook length so I can fish with a pellet. That's it. So I'm just going to have a nice real structured approach. Start at 16 metres straight in front of me, and I'll just take it from there, see how the session goes, and if we have to change, we have to change. So let's kick off with, I think I'm just going to kick off with two dead reds just to start with, just to get an idea for what's there. I'm going to hook them through the point, so there's loads of hooks showing. I'm going to kick off with just the ground bait and pellet mix to start with. Like I say, I have no idea how it's going to fish, so I've just pushed a little bit of the ground bait in. No idea if this is going to be the right way to do it today or not, I don't know, but that's what we're here to find out. Pop that in there, and then just a little bit of ground bait on the top, just press it in. No point packing it in too tight. It's only about 4 foot deep here, so, and we don't want to be waiting ages for it to empty. So we're only at 16 metres, so I could underarm it to that, but I'll just go an overhead cast. There we go, 18 gram feeder. Sinking the line shouldn't be too much of an issue today. Like I say, we're only at short range, and this line sinks well anyway. Tip's just touching the surface. I'm not going to be timing casts or anything today. Like I say, it's just a session. Just going to see what happens. It might take a while for a bit of bait to go in and get 1 or 2 fish there, but I've got a 1.5 ounce tip in this today. Lots of people ask about that, but it's just one. That's all you need. You could get away with 1 ounce today, to be fair, but this rod actually comes with a 1.5 ounce and a 2 ounce tip. So 1.5 ounce should be all right. It's a self-hooking way of fishing that we're fishing anyway. This, you know, the fish are, you're not picking up on bites as such, the fish should be on. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes with this ground bait approach initially. Like I said, I'm just going to try and catch a few, just anything, just see what's there. There might even be roach there as well if we're fishing maggot and pinky. There might be some skimmers there as well, and even the odd bream. But what I'm going to do is, towards the middle of the session, I'm then going to start introducing more of these pellets in the pellet feeder. And I can put pellet on a band as well. I've got some hook lengths made up that I can fish with pellets. And see if we can catch any of those stocky carp or better carp towards the end of the session. Well, we've had so much rain recently, you know, I mean, we know that affects these waters as well as the rivers. I was really looking forward to getting on a river today, but I'll just have to knock that back a few days, so that will be coming over the next week or so. But if it stays like this, we'll be all right. I haven't had any indications yet. I think it's cup of coffee time, I think. Very important part of the kit this time of year. I've never really caught on here with a pellet feeder, but the good thing about this system is that I can quickly and easily change it to either a method feeder or an open method feeder if I don't think that presentation is quite right. I filmed a video about a month ago at Loxley Fisheries, and that was exactly what happened then. If you haven't seen that before, I'll put a link below and above for you. That was an indication there. Oh, there we go. I think he's on. There we go. A cup of coffee bite. Well, it's not a big fish. That's only the second cast, which is good. We'll take my time with this one, because I don't know. There are some little stockies in here. This could be a tiny little stockie. Let's net him. I think it is. It's going to be a beautiful little carp. There we go. Fantastic. It's only second cast. It's a beautiful. Look at that. Now that's what I said about the stocky carp coming to those pellets. That's exactly what happened to me in that match. You know, I mean, they were bigger than this. You know, they were 2 pound fish, pound and a half, 2 pound fish. But that's just hooked perfectly in the bottom lip, as you can see. Just that size 16 double maggot, perfectly in the bottom lip. Beautiful little fish. Look at these scales on that. Beautiful. Well, that's second cast, so that's nice and encouraging. It's popping back. No keep net today. Don't usually put a keep net in for these session videos. Off you go, mate. See you when you're a bit bigger. So I'll just go back in again. Double maggot. Put some fresh maggots on this time. Just hooking them in the point so that there's loads of the hook showing. A little bit of ground bait. Put the 2 maggots in, and then just cap off with a bit of ground bait. Not too tight, like I say, we're only casting 16 meters and it's only shallow, so you don't want to pack it in too much because you don't want your hook to get hindered if a fish goes straight to it. There we go. Get the tip down. But like I say, sinking the line's not an issue today. Well, it was a lovely little, well, it obviously hooked itself. That's what they do with this, so when it's working right they do. Just a little rattle and then it just dropped back, so he's obviously hooked itself and dislodged the feeder, and that's when it went slack. I'll finish my cup of coffee now, can't I? How many times do you find a fish at the bottom of a flask? That's a nice start anyway. I don't really want to be moving today. I don't want to be chasing fish out like we do sometimes. What I want to try and do is I want to try and just keep a little bed of ground bait there, mainly ground bait, as you can see, because there aren't many pellets in there at the moment. I'm not feeding any maggots or anything, and all I want is mainly ground bait there, just as you see it there, with a few pellets in, where hopefully there might be 1 or 2 better fish grazing around as the session goes on that are going to see the double maggot standing out, and they're going to pick that up quickly. But like I said, I'm going to then start introducing more pellets on that same spot and just kind of build it up if there's some stocky carp there, or proper carp as well. But I don't really want to go searching today. Most of the matches and the fish that have been getting caught have been within pole sort of range, so I'm quite confident that the spot that we're on there, if we're just nice and patient, I think that'll be the right spot. I'm just staying on that right, you know, that same range. See, that was a little indication there. That was a really slow, almost like a line bite, but it's a definite sign that there might be 1 or 2 fish milling about. Well, the coffee's good anyway. So we had 1 second cast, which is a great start. Just getting the odd tiny little indication every now and then. What I noticed was when I was here a few days ago in that open match, that every now and then it'd go really quiet. I might catch a couple of little skimmers, but then it'd go quiet, and then all of a sudden you'd get 1 or 2 little indications, you know, and whenever that happened, the next fish that I caught was always a stockie or a hooked a carp, and that might be what's happening now. You know, you're just getting indications as they're coming into the peg, they're around the feed, they're brushing, touching the line and that sort of thing. And interestingly, Neil Mallinson was on my left. He fished a brilliant match. He caught just about all his fish on the pole. He fished a long pole. I think he was 3rd in the match or 4th with 9 pound in that match. And he hooked several carp, and he said that whenever those carp and the stockies come into the peg, you tend to get, I mean, obviously he was fishing with the pole, so he was getting little indications. The float was lifting, the rig was getting caught up on on the fish as it came into the peg. So you always got a bit of a warning before you actually hook one. Obviously it was a bit different for me hooking him on a feeder as opposed to him hooking him on a really light pole rig. You know, I could actually land the fish, but you definitely got a warning when they came in the peg, and that, you know, that is what's happening today. Well, that time I just put a single maggot on. I've had a cast with double pinky on, didn't catch anything with that, never even had an indication. There you go, lovely little skimmer. That's just on single dead red. That one's hooked in the top lip, that one, as you can see, right in the middle. Looks lovely with that sun on him as well. Very welcome. So we're getting some indications now, but it's just now a case of just trying to turn those indications into actual fish. Not big fish, as you can see, but I do seem to be getting more indications now, as though, you know, the peg's getting a little bit stronger. I was just considering changing over to a normal method feeder, or well, an open style method feeder. I was just about to get one out of the box just to try that, to see if the presentation of that was a little bit better, but I just as I was about to do that, the tip went, and obviously I've just caught that. So I'm gonna have another cast now with single dead red on. Still haven't fed anything now. I've had about 7 casts now. Just been nice and patient. Sun is out now, it's beautiful. Just knocked it up a little bit more with temperature wise. So I'll just have a couple more casts with this, feeder how it is. I'll just see how it goes. I'm still on that same spot, so whatever happens, I'm still building up that little area of ground bait, or a baited area. And like I say, I'll have a couple more casts with this feeder. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna put an open method feeder on and just see if the presentation of that is a little bit better. But I am getting little tiny indications, so there are 1 or 2 fish milling around that feed area. I don't think that pellet feed is quite right. I'm getting little indications, so the fish obviously coming to that feed, what I'm putting in, which is all obviously great. The range must be all right, but those indications I should be catching more fish, I think. So I'm going to switch it for an open feeder, or an open method feeder, just to see if the presentation of that is going to be a little bit better. That's all we need. Just a 15 gram, that'll do. That'll be okay. The good thing, like I say, with this system is I can just quickly and easily change that and just try it. You know, I don't have to set another rod up or anything, and just see if that presentation is better. And if it's not, then obviously I can always switch back to the pellet feeder. Still getting tiny little indications, but I'm not turning them into fish, so I'm going to switch that feeder. Best way of finding out if it's better or not is simply to try it. This other feeder it's only 15 gram. The pellet feeder that I'm taking off is 18 gram, so that, I don't think that'll make a difference. So all we need to do is, with this system, is just take that top nose off, if you want to call it a nose. That slides off, and we can just quickly and easily slide that feeder on there. That will just tuck in there all right. I want to keep the same hook bait on, just single maggot, same mix as well, just a little bit of the ground bait. I'm going to lay the bait on top, and then just a sprinkling, and just press it down a little bit there, just so it stays intact for the cast. We'll see if that makes any difference. As you can see, it only took a minute to try, but that can really just transform things really sometimes, and for the sake of just a few minutes to try it, it's definitely worth giving it a go. So let's see if that's let's see if that different presentation is going to make a difference. Well, that was a much more positive bite. It feels a slightly better fish. This is on double red. I've had 3 or 4 small fish now, getting little indications, but I think it's time to step it up and start putting those pellets in. I'm not quite sure what this is going to be. Oh, it's a little carp, little stockie. Let's put a nice bend in the rod on a winter's day. No messing about with this. The tip just started rattling away, and the fish was obviously on straight away on double maggot. There we go. Plenty of leaves around now. That's expected at this time of year. So I've had about 4 skimmers, I think I've had now, and a couple of little roach, but this is the biggest fish so far, but it's still obviously only a little stockie. Very welcome, just in the bottom lip. Double maggot, as you can see. Just pop that in the edge. Beautiful fish, really nice. I mean, these are fish that you know that you can still land when you're on your light silverfish gear at this time of year. So you know, if you're fishing light pole rigs and that sort of thing, you can still land these fish, so they're not too much of a problem, not like them big carp. Find out. So what I'm going to start doing now is, off you go, mate. What I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to start putting the pellets through now, and this obviously with no idea what's going to happen now. This could kill the peg completely. You know, I don't know if they want much feed anyway, but it could kill the peg completely, or obviously it could go the other way. We could start getting more indications, more bites and stuff. I'm still going to leave maggot on the hook. I just think that's the way to go. That's what I want to try today anyway. But I'm going to start. I'm not going to use the ground bait now. I'm just going to use just pellets on their own, and it'll be interesting to see what's happening now, because I'm going to turn this into more of a carp type swim now. Go against the ground bait and see what reaction we get. So all I'm going to do is get the pellets, really nice and sweet, these pellets. They've been really well soaked. Like I said, these are Lindome Fishery pellets, these, but I've added some of the F1 sweet glug or flavouring onto them. So like I say, it just gives them, I haven't coloured them down in any way today. Last time I was here I dyed them down green, but that's it. I'm going to fish with that and see if we can either catch some more of those stockies or see if there are any proper carp there now. This is the time of day when you'd do this normally anyway in a match. If you felt you needed the better fish, you know, if you were still catching skimmers or bream on that original approach, then obviously you'd carry on doing that. But if you felt like you needed a bonus fish, then that's what we tend to do in the second part of the session. So I'm just going to target the stockies now. See if I can catch those by feeding the micro pellets, keeping maggot on the hook. Same line though. So there is quite a bit of ground bait on that spot, which is not usually, it's not always the best way to go for carp, to be honest. Usually if we was targeting carp, I would have just gone down the pellet route, but today's been a bit of a mixture, so we're going to change it now from a ground bait skimmer type approach now. I'm going to try and turn it into a stocky carp peg, and we'll see what happens. That's gone to the clip. The clip's off. I've had to take the clip off. Well, that's first cast with pellets. First cast with pellets in the feeder. Again with double maggot. When I caught that last fish, you probably could tell that I'd switched from the open method feeder to a pellet feeder, back to a pellet feeder. I just didn't catch with the open method feeder. I didn't catch anything on it, so I went back to the pellet feeder, and as you can see, I'm into a much better fish now. That was unbelievable. This has only literally been in about 3 or 4 minutes. Like I say, I'm not timing casts today, but just got a 16 on, so it's only a small hook, all 13 hook length. But I think if it's a good hook hold, we should be able to land this. It'll be interesting. I think it's safe to say it is a carp, but it'll be interesting to see what size. That was just ran straight out the peg. As soon as it was clear it was on, when I picked up, it was straight to the clip. So, but that's not a problem. Obviously we've used the sticks, the measuring sticks, to measure up, to clip up. So I know when I've landed this, I can just get off my box and go back to the sticks and just re-clip up at exactly the same range. And that's the beauty of using measuring sticks, no messing about, not having to count turns and all that sort of thing. So we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what size this is. So whether this is going to be the right way to go now, I don't know, but we'll find out as the session progresses. But I think it's all about timing. I don't honestly think we would have caught one of these straight away had we started on the pellets. I think it's time of day massive at this time of year. Oh, he's a good fish, bigger than I thought. I thought it was only going to be 2 or 3 pound, but feels lovely on this rod, this commercial feeder rod. It's probably the first time a lot of you have seen me use this rod. It's the first time I've used it in a video. But this is the rod that's a step up from the Slim. You know, the Slim's a fantastic rod. Everyone knows I love that rod, but for better carp, then this rod's obviously got more backbone, and you know, that's what it's designed for. There we go. Beautiful, bit bigger than what I thought. There we go. Yeah, he is. He's heavier than I thought as well. Let's have a look at him. Just take that hook out. Those hooks, brilliant, showing that they're great for catching bigger carp as well. Nice and strong. Beautiful fish. He's very cold actually, surprisingly. Looks nice with the sun on him. Lovely looking fish, very powerful. Great to get on 13 hook length, 16 hook, just really nice. It's great to fish. Slightly lighter than normal for these fish. Beautiful. Well, let's see if that change is going to transform the peg, or whether that was a bit of a lucky stray one. Off you go, mate. See you on my next match. Lovely. All I need to do now is just go back to the sticks. Only takes a minute, but it just means that you're going to be fishing bang on the same spot again. No messing about, no guesswork with counting reel turns and things. 16 meters again. Can just clip that back on nice and quickly and smoothly. That's the main thing. That's it. We know now we're clipped up bang on that same spot where we've been fishing all day. So I'm going to go in again, just the same routine. Double maggot on with just pellets in the feeder. It'll be interesting now to see how if it does continue to produce more fish, or whether that was just a bit of a lucky one. Because inevitably what's also going to happen is the more casts I have with pellets, the more pellets there are going to be in the swim, in the peg. And it can be quite common at this time of year, and certainly going into winter, to overfeed, you know, if you're not careful. So unless the fish are there eating eating the pellets and mopping up what is there. So really nice and spongy, these pellets. There we go. As you can see, just the maggots just showing. Don't want to squeeze them in too tight. Sometimes you can push them and they actually come off the hook if you're not careful. I'll get this back out to 16 meters on the clip again. Get the rod down underneath those leaves. There's no rush with this. When you're sinking your line, you know, I see lots of people rushing to do it. But when you're fishing a method feeder like this, or sorry, a pellet feeder or this style, then the fish are self-hooking anyway. So if I was to get a bite now, you know, the rod will just go because the fish will be on. So just get that line down, and that's it, we're set. Oh, it's gone again straight away. Well, that's almost like summer fishing. That was well quicker than certain summer sessions that we've had. But that just shows that they've gone straight for them pellets, straight on that same spot, and sucked in those hook baits that are right on the pellets. Well, that's it's been a completely different result now, hasn't it, by using pellets. This one's not as big, this fish, but we certainly can't complain, can we? Another little stockie. Well, it's telling me a couple of things. I don't know about you, but it's looking like they want some of those pellets, but it's also telling me that that ground bait really can't put them off too much, because they're right on it. You know, it's not like I've had to start a new swim where there's no ground bait gone in. We have been feeding ground bait. The hooks come out in the net, as you can see. But yeah, little stockie, beautiful looking little fish these. Get that, nailed it straight away, less than a minute. Well, I didn't expect that. Off you go, mate. So 2 in 2 casts on that. Let's try it again and see if we can get another one. Didn't have to take the clip off on that one, so we're still clipped up. There we go. Tip down underneath those leaves. Usually I wouldn't be too concerned about sinking the line. I mean, we're only fishing short anyway, and this mono sinks quite quickly anyway, so it's just I'm doing it for these leaves. I just want to get them down, get it down through the surface and underneath those, so those leaves aren't going to affect anything. Well, it caught me off guard, that, I'll be absolutely honest with you, but very, very welcome. Well, that's been in about 6 minutes and we've got another one. Unbelievable. So this is 3 in 3 casts just by switching to pellets in the feeder. Now I don't know if that's time of day or not, I really don't know, but I think that is a big factor. But it just shows you that, you know, these slightly better fish, stockies if you want to call them that, we just couldn't catch them on that line with ground bait. Yep, it's another one. We switched to pellets, and obviously they want to have a bit of a chew on those micro pellets. There we go, another pretty fish. Plenty of leaves as well in the net, inevitably. There we go, look at that one, that's beautiful. Beautiful little fish. Stunning, aren't they? Love to put up a good scrap. That one's just in the corner of its mouth, as you can see. That was on double maggot, but there's only one left. Fantastic. So that's 3 in 3 casts with a pellet feeder, with just pellets in. So maybe they are a little bit hungrier than what we expected. Well, that's been a really interesting session. It just shows that, you know, just by changing what you're feeding, even on the same line, can totally transform the stamp and species of fish that you're actually catching. November is a very busy month for filming, so if you don't want to miss out on any future videos, just hit subscribe just there. And if you want to see more tuition coaching style videos that go into a little bit more depth, then check out my other channel, Patreon TV, at the link just there. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.